You only have 2 times to make a first impression, which is kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but one, when they see you, what you look like. That's why the uniform works so well. And 2, when you open your big fucking mouth. When you open your mouth is when you step on your dick. And that's why I tell you to join Toastmasters. I tell you to go to improvisation. I tell you to, all these things that we're going to go in detail during the week because your communication skills suck. From communication skills, we can build leadership skills. But if you got no fucking communication skills, I find it not impossible, but almost impossible to build leadership skills. Comfort zone. Some of the chairmen will tell you they're on board, pull up the gangplank. We don't need to give any more equity out. They'll tell you. Because they're thinking old school, conventional wisdom. And I'll tell you, and you'll write in your report, but Mr. So-and-so, my chairman, said, and I'll say, well, fuck him. I mean, if I had to come to a 25-year-old to get rich, I'd blow my fucking brains out. Now, you won't say that. I don't want you to say that. But here's a 61-year-old guy that doesn't have a fucking pot to piss in, or a window to throw it out, and he's telling you to go on the cheap with the other directors. How well has his plan worked for 40 fucking years? It hasn't. Now, as you get, that's how Trump would answer, or I would answer, but I don't want you to do that. But be thinking that. I mean, these guys are crazy. And then that's when your leadership steps in. You got to step up, and you got to push them back in line. And pushing a guy with 40 years experience isn't easy. Not impossible either. And once in a while, the chairman will say, fuck you, kid, I'm out of here. And he'll resign. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, fuck face. I'm not suggesting you say that. That's just an example. But I have been known to say shit like that. And that's why in the financial world, they either love me or hate me. They love me if we made money together. They hate me. All the rest hate me. Because I treat everybody the same, like shit. Kids only lack leadership. They don't lack brains. They want to be grabbed by the fucking nose or inside the palate of the mouth and drug across the goal line. Just like this fucking picture right here that one of my mentees gave me. That's why I have an arthritic back. Dragging you cocksuckers across the goal line for 25 fucking years. I have a sore back now. I didn't used to have an arthritic back. Because those guys don't look like they want to come, do they? None of you want to go across the goal line when you figure out what it takes to get there. Because you're lazy cunts, because your parents were lazy cunts. Don't show fear, don't show doubt. And there's another thing I say, don't show. And most of the contemporaries that are, but there aren't any high-performance coaches, other than the guys that are coaching the Olympians and stuff like that. But the personal development guys and gals aren't telling you don't show fear, don't show doubt. In fact, I don't believe they even talk about it, and for the good reason. Just like they don't talk about numbers, they don't talk about that because their leadership skills are pretty abysmal, pretty piss poor. And as I've said for a number of years now, at least for the last 15 or plus, that the kids today, meaning you, they want leadership, they want guidance. That's what they need. They don't need shortcuts, tips, and various other things that are sold to the kids. They need leadership because they had a lack thereof when growing up. They didn't have any leadership. And and even as hard as my dad was on me, the kids wanted to be, is your dad going to be in town? Is your dad going to be in town? But there was a good chance he would whack one of them. I mean, he didn't just whack me. He whacked anybody. He didn't give a fuck. Now just think of that. Now, you go over to a guy's house, when your kids go over a guy's house, and the kid gets the shit kicked out of him by the other guy's dad. I mean, can you just hear that now? Crying, screaming, whining, whinging. He didn't give a fuck. But the kids loved it. They fucking loved it. And that Leadership 101, you know. And the stuff that Jocko, God love him, I mean, he's preaching Leadership 101. But for most people that, you know, that haven't been through the training like he has, or training that I've been through. Leadership 101 is, taking ownership, as he says, and just fucking doing it. He says get after it or whatever he says, but he says just fucking do it. And do what you say and say what you do. That's Leadership 101. And don't be willy-nilly. Don't, and most of you have lived your lives and your parents' lives giving tacit approval. Tacit approval is the reason why you're here today. And the people that are on YouTube are poor on YouTube. But tacit approval is this. This guy tells me something, and I know it's horseshit, and I just sit and listen. And then I walk away, right? Or, God forbid, and I hear his bullshit, and I happen to nod my head. Okay. Now he goes to this other muttonhead over here, and he says, Dan's on board. Not because I said I was on board, or by accident I nodded my head up and down, because I didn't say I wasn't on board. In his mind, I've given him tacit approval. You've lived your whole fucking lives. For those of you that work in big organizations, you listen to your boss, you know he's full of shit, but you just sit there and listen. Now, I got in trouble. I used to say, you're full of shit. That's bullshit. All my life. And I told you, Dr. Shirley Teeter said, the only thing that's changed with Danny Pena is that his accomplishments have caught up with his big fucking mouth. Because I was talking shit, just like Muhammad. I'm the fucking greatest, Fuck me, sweetheart. I mean, I fuck like a fucking lumberjack with a 14-inch dick. I've been talking shit now. I've done all that shit. Except for the 14, I'm about 13 and a half inches short on that part. But I mean, I've done all that shit. So now my accomplishments have caught up. Leadership is me getting you to do what I want you to do when I fucking want you to do it. Not when you get up off your dead ass and want to do it. And the current crop of kids have a hard time understanding that. Because they want to be in a managerial role, and they want the people that are subordinate. First of all, they don't even use words like this, subordinate, anymore. Okay, subordinate means underneath, okay? They want the person or persons subordinate to them to come up with the ideas to get the task done on their own, and them not have to invoke any force on them. Because when you invoke force, it's like there's no such thing as constructive criticism. It's criticism, and then that relationship is forever changed. In other words, then they're not going to like me, or they're not going to respect me. And there was a study done about, it might be 10 years ago now, and where the rating of the managers was internal from his subordinates. The subordinates rated how good the manager was. And contrary to what was thought, conventional wisdom, the people that got the highest ratings were the toughest ball busters by their own employees, by their own subordinates. Not the ones that went out to lunch and had a coffee and played tennis on the weekend with them. And it's what I say over and over again. The kids don't lack skills, brains. What they lack is leadership. And now, in this day and age, it's not considered politically correct, and it's contrary to conventional wisdom to have I'm the boss and you're the underling. And that's different than management by objectives. Management by objectives is the bottom of the rung person adds to the business plan until it gets up to the board level, and then the board level approves or disapproves what the whole management ladder has said. Because the people that really know how to run the business are the people that are doing it in the trenches. Not some old guy like me sitting on the board that hasn't done manual labor or worked on an assembly line for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, if at all, because they don't want to look stupid. Most world-class leaders engage in self-deprecation. They poke fun at themselves. I'm a classic example of that. And you taught just the opposite. And in some cases, you'll embarrass our race. You'll embarrass our ethnicity. You'll embarrass our family name, God forbid. And what has that gotten you so far? Fuck all. And that's why it takes the kids so long.